This video is not sponsored by Sony. I really wish it was. Sony, if you're watching this, feel free to email me. It would be a dream to work with you. But on today's episode, I want to talk about the best camera for YouTube vlogging. Feels so good to be back in Boston. I've been going to New York City quite frequently, so it feels good to be back in the home city. So, I've been getting a lot of DMs on Instagram and YouTube comments asking me about what camera I use. So I figured I'd dedicate this whole episode to get into why I use what I use to make these vlogs. So let's go. So I want to emphasize that 95% of this video is going to be using this camera right here, and the other 5 is going to be using this camera right here. If you have any questions, just timestamp it and I'll make sure to get you situated if you need any help. Now, there's no best camera. Every camera has their pros and cons. I use Sony because I love their settings. You can just get through the menu super quick and efficient while I'm vlogging through the city. You never want to miss the shot. If you're looking to get your first vlogging camera or overall just upgrading your setup, I recommend these essentials. Number 1 would be definitely a flip out screen. When I first started this channel, I did not have a camera that had a flip out screen. And it got super frustrating because I never knew if I was overexposed or underexposed. And it just got super annoying. Number 2 is a fast autofocus camera. This camera has face detection, so if I'm zoomed in, it'll still focus on my face. If I'm zoomed out, same thing. And number 3 would be a small compact camera. This camera is super small when you break it down and putting it in a bag. I go to New York, Boston, or if I'm just traveling, it's super nice to pack it in a nice little camera bag. And lastly, just an overall clean looking image. Okay, so when I saw it online, I thought it was dumb, but being in person, it actually is pretty cool. The Cybertruck. Oh. Look how big the wiper is. Being next to this thing does not feel like a normal car. It feels like something from the future. Definitely gives off a different vibe. Thing's pretty cool, huh? So if you take away anything from this video, I want you to take away this. This is super important. A nice camera doesn't get you views. Last year, when I bought this camera, I thought to myself, maybe if I invest into a nice camera, I'll pull in more views. And that's not the case. YouTube's interesting. I've seen the most simple made videos made with a webcam and it still pulls in thousands to millions of views. So don't get discouraged if you can't afford a nice camera, because we all start from zero. And if you're serious about making YouTube videos, your camera arsenal will grow through time. You just gotta figure out what you wanna make. For me, I love the run and gun aspect of making vlogs, And I love sprinkling cinematography in my videos. And this camera fills in all the boxes of what I want to make. So that's why I bought it. Realistically, I really wanted the FX3, but at the time, I didn't want to pay $4,000 for just the body alone. So that's why I settled for the FX30, because you gotta think about lenses and a microphone and all that stuff. So this camera right here costs around like $2,500, but it gets the job done, and this camera's a beast. Yo! Where are you guys? My buddies decided to come into the city, so let's go meet up with them. That's gonna look sick, dude. Yeah! Let's go! Bring it here, pal.
First try, you owe me $10. First try.
Heck yeah. Just gonna wrap up the night. It's starting to rain. So we're getting back to the studio. Now to get that vlog feel in your videos, you're gonna need a wide angle lens. What a wide angle lens does is it captures everything around you. That way you know what kind of environment I'm in. It keeps things interesting as you're talking to the camera. That way your viewer can look around as you speak. Plus it gives off the feeling that you're just hanging out with me, as if we're just having a conversation. Now the lens I'm using in particular is a 10 to 18 millimeter lens made by Sony. Again, not sponsored. But the reason why I love the little bit of zoom is to really emphasize on things when they're important. There's so many different lenses, but I choose to use the 10 to 18 millimeter lens because this camera is not full frame. So the lower I go, the more wide it gets in millimeters. I do also use a 28 to 70. That way I can punch in on things and just get some cool B-roll. To capture good audio, you're gonna wanna use an external microphone. Cameras don't really have the best built-in microphones. They always sound tinny. So I just recommend picking up a external mic. That way it picks up audio super good. I'd highly recommend this microphone that I'm using right now. This is called the Joby Wavo Plus. Joby was kind enough to send me out one a couple months back, and I've been loving it ever since. Lastly, on the gear section part of this video, I do want to talk about tripods. This is my old Joby bendy tripod. I loved it, it was great, but there's two things wrong with it. One being, when you first get it, it's super stiff, and that's what you want. When you place your camera down, you don't want any subtle movements when you're doing time lapses or just talking heads like this. But over time, the legs start to get old and they just start to bend very slowly when you put your camera down, and that can ruin shots. And if you're like me, I've dropped my camera using these. So I love them, but hate them. If they just worked, they'd be great. But Joby, work on getting these legs tighter. And then number two is the length of the tripod. I found myself really trying to extend my arm to get the nice shot of me vlogging. So if you can make longer legs, kind of like out to here, that'd be amazing. Not a bad product, but just over time when it gets old, it starts to wear and tear. This tripod that I've been using for months now has great length to it. It's not bendy, but it's almost like a pole system. Then you have these legs that are super strong. That way you can hold your camera up when you're putting it on a desk or like a garbage bin. Then what you can do is you can extend this out. That way when you're vlogging, you can capture more of your environment. Kind of like this, ready? Look how much, and I'm not even like extending my arm a lot. If I was, I'd be doing it like this. Look how much it captures. This is not sponsored. I just really believe in good products. Now, I'll leave everything down below. That way you can check it out. Just in case if you're getting into vlogging or if you're experienced. I hope I brought some value today. And if you have any questions, let me know down below. I can help. This is Ricky, and I'm out of here. Peace out.